Austin City Limits is one of a number of festivals that bring in a lot of people here to Austin. And this morning, the city released its latest study on how much of an economic impact the festival makes here. Mayor Steve Adler joins me now here to talk about that and some other issues. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
So who conducted this study?
You know, I think it was the C3 people, organizers conducted the study, hired an outside independent person to give us some financial numbers. And then some of the numbers we see from it, we just see because they're public information.
I think no one's really surprised that, I mean, we're talking millions of dollars that this brings into the city, right?
Almost $300 million in economic activity. It's the functional equivalent of hosting an NCAA Final Four event, and Austin gets to do that every year.
When I was looking at the history of, I mean, we have obviously South by Southwest, we have Circuit of the Americas, which is one of the bigger ones too. Even UT brings in a lot of money here to Austin. When we look at is it really, are you able to really tell the economic impact when it is the organizations that conduct these festivals conducting the studies?
You can, because they hire outside people, so it's not an in-house study. So the experts that they're hiring are independent people and the same kind of people that the city hires to do the same kind of work. Unemployment during that period of time drops from 3.3 to 2.8% in the city. So there are those indicators as well as the fact that you know, today they handed us a check for $6.3 million, and an event like that happens downtown, some people say, you know, it's good for downtown, but I don't live downtown, except that it's the money that's generated from these events downtown that help us put the park out in Dove Springs or Bartholomew Park, or the parks that we do all over the city. So it's these things, these downtown events are the engines that drive a lot of what we see all over the city, and a lot of the money is being paid by tourists. It's out-of-town people.
But they get some tax breaks to do this, correct? I mean, to hold these festivals, we give tax breaks to a lot of these organizations too.
Well, we don't give tax breaks, I mean, as a city? Not really. You know, on some of them we will waive some small amount of fees. But that's the only thing that happens with those. These things are by far positive economic generators. The bulk of the money we get in the hotel occupancy tax, which funds all of the cultural arts that we have in the city and things like that.
Keeps that thriving and growing, which is what makes Austin, Austin.
That's right.
You were up in D.C. last week talking with Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, about the sanctuary cities issue. It's a big issue across the country, but especially here in Austin, Travis County. Do you feel like you got some clarification? I felt like there was a little bit of a mix-up or a lot of confusion, I think, even after you had that conversation with him.
Well, I think that I was real confused before I went there because I had no idea what the federal government considered a sanctuary city to be. He, in pretty unequivocal terms, said a sanctuary city for him that gets sanctioned is a city that violates one particular law, 8 U.S.C. 1373, and no other law. And that one particular law only deals with communications between local authorities and the federal government. We have 100% total open communications with federal authorities. I asked him if a city that was having those kind of communications, but was at the same time not honoring all detainer requests, would that be a violation of that law? And he said no. So it's real clear that under federal law, Austin is not a sanctuary city. It's not a city that gets sanctioned.
But there is a but in here because we're talking about now looking at state issues with this same issue.
That's what the state law does. So the state law that's being considered by the legislature goes beyond the federal law. So that which is voluntary at the federal level looks like it could be made mandatory at the local level. That which is not enforceable at the federal level soon could be sanctionable at the state level. Which to me doesn't seem right, and I'm not sure if it's legal.
Can you all fight that if that does, in fact?
Certainly we could, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if this law is not challenged. And that would be because our public safety professionals, our police chief, tell us, as do the big city police chiefs across the country, that adopting this kind of law will make communities less safe because it'll interrupt the trust relationship that exists between law enforcement and communities in the city. And my job is to try to help keep us as safe as we can possibly be, and I'll continue to take my police chief's advice on what we need to do to make that happen.
Eroding safety in those relationships or keeping people safe, it's a big conversation that we'll continue to have here.
That's
we
right.
appreciate you being here.
Good
Thanks
to
so
be
much.
here. Thank you.